I am a strict judge in court, but I don't see anything wrong with being a strict judge. It is important, firstly, when you're a woman, to be taken seriously, whether you're a lawyer or you're a professional or you're a judge. When you carry that impression and that it's a no-nonsense court, then everybody else should know that it's a no-nonsense court. We are here to do work, and we are here to do it to our best of our ability. So if I think that I'm a tough judge, the whole purpose was to be able to get people to come and argue and take orders wherever they were supposed to be done. I don't think I ever appreciated adjournments. As a rule, I would say that one Passover is good enough, be it a senior or a junior. No distinction between a senior and a junior was my rule. In fact, I think that I was more generous with juniors because they needed that space, very importantly, for them to be able to blossom. We needed that space when we were youngsters. Why wouldn't juniors need that space when they get those spaces? They're able to make a mark for themselves. If it's a senior, my rule was that the senior is missing, the junior is free to argue. But I find that there is no merit. I would rather not dismiss it and leave it on the shoulder of the junior, because the client the senior is answerable to a client. Get the senior over, hear the matter. But if it's a fit case for notice, why would I not give the privilege to that junior to carry that I was able to convince the court and get a stay or whatever?
We've seen in your court that there is no distinction between a junior lawyer or a senior
I tried.
lawyer, as much as a judge can. But there are a lot of judges who rely a lot on face value of the lawyer who is appearing before them. In addition to the fact that Supreme Court over the course of the past few years seems to have become the hegemony of a few lawyers who are appearing in almost every case. Do you think that there is not equal opportunity being granted to members of the bar because judges rely so much on face value of the lawyers?
Nalini, it's like this. It works in two ways. One, the clients sometimes don't have the confidence in their advocate on record or a advocate arguing counsel and feel that they need a senior because the stakes are too high, they can't risk it. The other aspect is, yes, of course, in every court there are seniors who are well-known, who are renowned, who have made a mark for themselves, particularly in constitutional matters. But then it is for the judge to make sure that one is not selective about giving special accommodation to a senior merely because there's a face value attached to him or her. The idea is that if the matter is good on merits and an arguing counsel is as competent to assist you, for example, if I wouldn't give more than one Passover, and invariably seniors are busy running all over. Now we have virtual, luckily. They can even log in virtually. They don't have to be physically running all over, except switching screens. You can encourage the arguing counsel to argue it too. And if there is still a need for a senior to make a point, give that space. But at least then that arguing counsel gains the confidence and the client gains the confidence in the arguing counsel that maybe if I had not engaged a senior, I've got the same result or a better result. Because who's briefing the senior? Ultimately, the arguing counsel. At the end of the day, the senior will always give her special input to a matter because of the vast experience they carry. But the arguing counsel, nobody knows the case better than the arguing counsel. Not the judge, not the senior advocate, this is the arguing counsel. So that confidence that one has to build in the bar to make sure that the arguing counsels come up to the next level and shape up as good seniors lies on us also, as much as judges, as it would lie on clients encouraging their own arguing counsels to argue the matter.